Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. It is Monday, December 26th. Today is National Whiners Day. That's right, for all you whiny-ass little snot-nosed little brats that didn't get what you wanted on Christmas Day or on Hanukkah. That's what today is for you. It's also National Boxing Day, which is referring to actual boxes that your presents come in. National Candy Cane Day. And it's National Thank You Note Day. Make sure you write a thank you note to all those people that got you those amazing gifts. Also, today is happy. We want to wish everyone a very happy first day of Kwanzaa. Today's first day of Kwanzaa is known as Umoja, which means unity. That's right. And thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms, especially right here on YouTube. We're live every Monday through Friday on YouTube and audio only on Clubhouse. And if you are joining us via Clubhouse, you can also participate in the show by raising your hand if you have a brief comment on the story most recently presented. But without further ado, let's pay a quick bill so we can get right back to the news. Want to grow some of the best weed in the world? Then you must start with the best genetics in the world. Go to www.dnagenetics.shop to order regular, feminized, or autoflower beans. All of your favorite DNA genetics cultivars such as Kosher Kush, Skywalker Kush, and oh yeah, Chocolate Truffle Shuffle. Boasting more cannabis awards for their award-winning genetics than any other company in the world. Remember to go to www.dnagenetics.shop to see why our terps don't lie. Oh, yeah, that is right. Coming up first, we have the dope dad himself. When he is not unwrapping presents for his little one, you could find him and his wife wrapping presents for their little one. That's right, because it is the holiday season and we just got done with Hanukkah and we just finished with Christmas and we're rolling right in to the first day of Kwanzaa. That is right. We have the dope dad himself bringing all the unity to the community for National Umoja Day. It is Rico Lamitte.
I like them bars this morning, Jason. Unity for the community.
Ooh. Yes, that's what we do.
Welcome back, everybody, and happy Umoja, the first day of Kwanzaa, to all that celebrate out there. My headline of the day is coming from Marijuana Moments, Kyle Yeager. Minnesota Medical Association endorses decriminalizing drugs. The Minnesota Medical Association, or MMA, not to be confused with, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and UFC and all that other shit. But they're a nonprofit representing Minnesota physicians, residents, and medical students with more than 10,000 members in a state with over 10,000 lakes. And it bills itself by being the leading voice of medicine in the land by the same name. They're endorsing broad drug decriminalization expungements for low-level possession and the promotion of statewide harm reduction programs. A resolution approved this month by the MMA recommends the removal of criminal penalties for the possession of a small quantity of illicit drug for personal use and or possession of drug paraphernalia. If you're asking yourself exactly what drugs are included in the MMA's list of illicit drugs, they want you to be free from criminal penalty for possessing small quantities for personal or and or possession of required and recommended paraphernalia with? The answer is any and all of those motherfuckers. The MMA resolution also calls for the creation of an administrative panel to render treatment, referrals, and civil penalties to offenders of simple possession. A dual approach of decriminalization and treatment referral, closely modeling Portugal's harm reduction policy that's been successfully operational now for 20 years. While the proposal was approved by a 219 to 34 vote, also urging increased investment in statewide harm reduction and mental medication for opioid use disorder programs, as well as the release of currently incarcerated over low-level drug possession and expungements for such offenses. The proposal is not binding on state legislature, but it could influence drug policy conversations as lawmakers prepare for the 2023 session. It could. We know that it won't. This is the first time that an official state medical association has formally backed this particular drug reform policy, a strong reflection of the shift in public sentiment away from criminalization models for substance use issues of the past. Per the proposal, MMA's work can involve educating policymakers of the efficacy and of criminal penalties of simple possession as a deterrent of drug use and the health harms associated with imposing ineffective criminal penalties for simple possession. Education could also touch the costs of criminalizing drug use, the cost of incarceration, versus much lower cost of increasing access to treatment for substance use disorders, the draft says. Not too long ago in 2020, Oregon decriminalized possession of all drugs at the ballot. And a poll released in September shows that the policy continues to enjoy a vast majority of support in the state. And nationwide, a strong majority of Americans, including most Republicans, support drug decriminalization, according to a poll released in April. But just because public opinion supports something does not mean that medical associations will too, let alone politicians on a state or federal level. So while the MMA's proposal on its own is a huge step forward, there's plenty more to follow because this is not used for celebration yet. But I'm gonna leave that up to the rest of y'all because I'm Rico Lamitte, celebrating Kwanzaa like a motherfucker, so high like a kite. And I want to hear what the rest of y'all motherfuckers have to say about this. What do you say, Jason? Should we decriminalize on a national level? Should we become the next Portugal? I know you were down on everything that was going on in Portland.
I mean, I'm just that actually brings up my exact question: is like, what drugs are they asking for the decriminalization of? Is it all drugs?
Everything.
And second
All of
note,
them.
so they basically want to turn the entire state of Minnesota into the city of Chad.
Chad was not Portland, bro. That was Seattle, wasn't it?
I mean, there was a lot of drugs going on, and there wasn't no one getting arrested for anything.
It's very different. Like Chad was just like lawlessness. That was like there's like nobody doing shit.
Okay, all right. So I will change my statement then. Are we just going to make the state of Minnesota the same as Portland, Oregon?
It's more like Portugal, you know what I'm saying? Like they said in the story. That's what.
Why is it more like Portugal?
Because Portugal decriminalized and they inserted nationwide a bunch of programs to help the people with help the addicts and all that. And you know what? 20 years later, they have a massive drop in deaths from addiction, period, from deaths resulting or tied to it. And then also HIV is an all-time low in the country as well. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, dude.
It sounds like they did something right over there.
It sounds like they listen to data and stats instead of emotion, unlike Americans.
You know what I think they actually what I'm going to credit it to is actually competent like enactment. Okay, because I don't think Oregon has been competent in the way that they've enacted their drug policy, and that might be the reason that they're having a totally different result all the way out there in Portugal as opposed to right here.
Dude, you keep on talking about Oregon. Like Oregon is fine. You're talking about Chad.
Oregon is not.
Chad is Seattle.
I didn't say Chad. I said Oregon.
You said Chad, and it just said in the story that Oregon still has broad support for their program to decriminalize on a micro level as well.
I mean, support. I mean, support is support. I mean, there's lots of things that support things.
As a former police officer, what would you say about this, Chris Eggers?
He did say Oregon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Here's what I'm going to say. We need that.
No, I said Oregon. Jason said Chad.
I said Oregon.
We need that one commercial.
Originally, he said Chad, then he changed it.
Yes, I switched it.
There we
go.
I'm pointing up here because on my screen, I don't know, but we need that that commercial where you do the rewind. What do you call it?
Playback.
Replay. Rewind. Replay. Right. I don't know.
I mean, go ahead, Chris. Say what you were saying.
I don't know if Oregon is fine. But
yeah,
I guess we could.
See what I'm saying?
A statement, right?
I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. And I like what Nick Bradley just said. He says, as far as Portugal is concerned, he said they have people walking around saying hash, pills, cocaine, around like 6 or 7 on every block in downtown Lisbon.
I think the difference between Portugal and Portland is in Portland, which is in fact the white people. It's the white people dreadlock capital of the world.
Lisbon or Portland?
Portland.
Okay.
Portland.
You have a bunch of kids that left their parents or their wealthy parents in Seattle that went and they chose to be homeless. They chose a bunch of ratchetness on the streets of Portland. No, but all jokes aside, there's a massive difference between Portland and Portugal. You have an entire country that's choosing to do this, and you have the whole medical association of that country, the whole medical field of that country that's willing to back them. You just don't have the same backing in support of the community in a state like Oregon. But I'm all for it, man. And it's always going to look worse on TV, what you see on TV, than what's really going down on the streets.
Yes, that part is true. They're always going to. What do you think, Manndie? As a mom, as a mother, and a business leader, what do you have to say about all this drug legalization going on?
I mean, I have always been, a big advocate for all plant medicine to be legalized. I'm not beyond anything else. Synthetics are not something that I'm really in support of course, but definitely anything plant medicine, anything that was put on this earth here for us to access naturally. I'm all
so you're saying if it's organic, don't panic.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I can see that.
Yeah. Portland has more shootings than Oakland has on a daily basis. Are we talking about actual shootings or people shooting up? That's the question.
Oh my God.
Now, that is everywhere in Oakland. Where I go, you can see that. I mean, literally.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Portland has more shootings every day than Oakland does.
No,
how much bigger is Portland than Oakland? Let's talk about that though.
The capita. I'll Google it.
I'm sure Portland's way bigger than Oakland, so you're comparing apples to oranges there.
I don't know, bro.
I don't know. What is the population difference there?
I don't know, bro.
Oakland's got
firearms. He is specifically speaking in regards to firearms.
I'm speaking like total population, motherfucker.
No, I'm talking about chemo.
Yeah, you're saying that Oakland has less firearms than Portland?
No, chemo.
The population of Portland 641. Let's see. Oakland
200,000 people more than Oakland.
Yeah, 400 and what is under 450?
Yeah. 430. That's 430 in Oakland and 640 in Portland. So you got 200,000 people more in Portland. So of course there's gonna be more shootings in Portland than
reported
shootings.
Reported shootings, bro.
Big difference.
Reported shootings. Yeah, I still think there's more shootings in Oakland.
Agreed.
Yeah. See,
is it feeling?
Even former law enforcement
data,
huh?
Or is it a feeling? Is a gut feeling? We're talking about actual data.
No, I'm talking about actual data.
I can't speak for Portland, but I mean, there's a high amount of unreported shootings in Oakland for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Whether there's more in Portland, I don't know. I can't say to that, but I can just say from having worked in Oakland, Oakland's got a ton of unreported shootings.
Think of how many bullets and guns you can hide in those dreadlocks, in those Patagonias that those kids have on the streets of Portland. But let's keep it moving here.
Let's keep it moving.
Right here. All right. So coming up next, Coming up next, it is the man himself, the boss of West Hollywood. You can catch him as president of cannabis tourism, or maybe in downtown LA making deals at Green Street. But chances are you will not find him supporting anything that is not the world's best weed. Jason Beck, come to the stage next. What do you have for us on this beautiful Kwanzaa, first day of Kwanzaa?
Yes, unity. We're bringing unity. Umoja. Not to be confused with emojis because they're not even spelled the same. But nonetheless, today my story is a pretty interesting one, you guys, and you're gonna have to sit down and buckle your seatbelts and maybe take some notes because this deals with a lot of money and a lot of documents. And so Roman Abramovich secretly funded the world's largest marijuana company. Now, this is something that many people in the cannabis industry have known for a number of years, but never been able to pinpoint or document it or anything else like that. But now the documents are out. An offshore company controlled by Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich invested hundreds of millions of dollars into the U.S. marijuana industry and secretly funded top shareholders of the world's largest cannabis company, leaked documents show. Abramovich, whose net worth is estimated at a whopping $9 billion with a B dollars, was sanctioned by the UK and the EU after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He has not been sanctioned by the US, but the Department of Justice obtained a warrant to seize 2 of his planes in June. Now, newly leaked documents from Cyprus show that Abramovich's company invested in a plethora of companies in the American cannabis industry and also helped fund the 2 biggest shareholders of Curaleaf, the world's largest cannabis company with a market cap of nearly $3 billion with a B dollars. The documents from a Crip Riot Accounting, I don't know if that's supposed to be crypto accounting, and secretarial firm were made available to journalists and researchers by Distributed Denial of Secrets, a nonprofit that hosts leaked and hacked data. Forensic News has reviewed thousands of leaked documents related to Abramovich's offshore empire. So this sounds like this is kind of like the new WikiLeaks, but we'll see. Nonetheless, Curaleaf has previously faced questions over its ties to Russia. Its exclusive chairman, Boris Jordan, was once a prominent investment banker in Russia and has said that he once had a close relationship with Vladimir Putin. Jordan currently holds approximately 18.2% of Curaleaf and is now worth $1.6 billion. He has repeatedly denied speculation about Curaleaf's ties to Russia, and the documents, however, show that Abramovich was quietly funding Jordan and companies under his control via British Virgin Islands LLC Cetus investments. Tens of millions of dollars in loans were issued to Jordan and his companies, something that appears to have never been disclosed by Jordan or by Curaleaf. Some of the loans included stipulations that the money was only to be spent on purchasing shares in Curaleaf, previously known as Palilia Tech Incorporated. In November 2016, Lafayette LLC, a Delaware-based company owned by Jordan, received $14 million from Cetus Investments Limited, a British Virgin Islands company controlled by Abramovich. A promissory note said that the money must be used by Lafayette to purchase 878,569 shares of stock in Paliatech. The following October, the new note amended to include a second loan for $10 million, which was to be used to purchase an additional 418,253 shares of Paliatech. Abramovich and Jordan did not stop there. Records show that Abramovich, through Cetus Investments, loaned Sputnik Technology Ventures, an obscure Bohemian LLC connected to Jordan, $45 million. In this case, Jordan and other companies under his control personally guaranteed the loan and pledged shares in Curaleaf to secure the funding. In total, Abramovich appears to have loaned Jordan's company $69 million over the span of 2017 and 2018. Jordan was not the only major shareholder in Curaleaf to be quietly funded by loans from Abramovich's offshore company. Curaleaf's second largest shareholder, Andy Bloko, was also bankrolled by Abramovich, the files show. The pattern of the Abramovich loans to Bloko was similar to the funding of Jordan. In late 2016, Cetus Investments lent Bloko just over $50 million, again earmarked for the specific use of purchasing Polyatech shares. Then in October 2017, the amount lent to Bloko increased to over $60 million. Like Jordan, Bloko pledged shares in Polyatech to secure the loan. Unlike Jordan, however, Bloko received a line of credit from Cetus for an additional $12 million to fund another marijuana ventures in the U.S., including cannabis dispensaries in Los Angeles and Las Vegas. By the end of 2018, according to Cetus Cetus internal financial statements, Abramovich's company had lent approximately $140 million to Jordan and Bloko. The money extended to Curaleaf's top shareholders is not Abramovich's only financial involvement in the company. Public reports from the SEC show that Cetus lent money directly to the cannabis company itself, $85 million in total. Those loans also appear in the leaked files. All told, the Russian oligarch, who was considered by Western governments to have close links to Putin, funded Curaleaf and its principals with $225 million in the months before it went public, in the biggest marijuana initial public offering in history. In a statement to Forensic News, Curaleaf confirmed that Jordan and Bloko received funding from Abramovich's Cetus. As with any young company in its early days of securing capital, shareholders Boris Jordan and Andrei Bloko were raising funds through multiple sources and family offices to grow Polyatech, which later became Curaleaf. Curaleaf added that Cetus was a lender to many businesses around the world, and all loans referred to in your email were repaid long before Curaleaf was formed or went public. Curaleaf has no debt with Cetus. We cannot speak on behalf of the shareholders, however. Experts who examined the loans expressed concerns about Abramovich's use of offshore companies to finance American industry. And in a quote, "This type of financing through opaque offshore jurisdictions is problematic for law enforcement, government regulators, and financial institutions because it hides the ultimate beneficial owner of the investment funds." Karen Greenway, a former financial crimes investigator at the FBI, said that. Beyond Abramovich's deep financial relationship with Curaleaf, he has expanded his influence in the U.S. marijuana market by quietly investing in Measure 8 Ventures, a New York-based marijuana venture capital firm. Though Jordan has hailed as the cannabis king and the founder of Measure 8, financial records show that Abramovich was the largest beneficiary. At nearly the same time it financed Curaleaf, Abramovich's Cetus snatched up shares in Measure 8, becoming a 64.8% shareholder after injecting $48.5 million into fund by 2018. In mid-2019, Cetus sold 17% of its shares in Measure 8 to another British Virgin Islands company called Erlenand Holdings, which is beneficiary owned by Abramovich's close business associate, David Davidovich. The sale obstinately saw Abramovich's lose majority interest in the New York-based fund, but in a dizzying sequence of events, Abramovich appears to have lent money to his business associate's company to purchase the shares in Measure 8. On the same day that Davidovich, via his offshore company, Erlenand, purchased shares in Measure 8 from Abramovich's over $21 million. Another Abramovich entity called Sonora Capital lent Erlenand over $27 million. In effect, Abramovich appears to have funded the purchase of his own shares in Measure 8, which saw his direct holdings fall below 50%. The relationship between Cetus and Measure 8 was so close that when Cetus sought more shares of Curaleaf, it went directly to a Measure 8 employee. Zana Vinshova, the vice president of operations at Measure 8, was appointed to serve as the power of attorney for Cetus in July of 2020 in order to transfer 7.5 million shares of Curaleaf to Cetus. Contacted by Forensic News, Vishelnova said, "I am not allowed to answer any questions about that at all." The Curaleaf spokesperson added that as far as we are aware, Measure 8 does not have any loan agreement with Cetus. Abramovich is not the only Curaleaf shareholder directly linked to Russia. In September 2021, Cetus sold 663,900 shares of the company to Daria Plutnik for $8 million. Plutnik is the wife of Alexander Plutnik, who currently serves as the deputy managing director of Russian Railways, the state-owned rail operator that the U.S. and EU sanctioned after the war in Ukraine began. Abramovich also invested smaller amounts in an array of companies in the cannabis industry. He owned $1 million worth of shares in Green Gorilla Incorporated, the first USDA certified organic hemp CBD brand. Green Gorilla was founded by Steven Saxton, a Hollywood producer who has produced movies like Lone Survivor and GOAT, G-O-T-T. The international financial statements show that Abramovich's Cetus invested over $1 million in other large American cannabis companies, including Ease, Tilray, and publicly traded Tilt Holdings. American representatives of Abramovich did not immediately reply to a request or comment. And oh man, this has so much going on in it. I don't even know where to begin with my comments, but I will digress. And this is Jason Beck reporting for the High at 9 News. What do y'all think about all this Russian oligarch money?
Was this not like the worst? Was this not like the worst kept secret like on earth? Like in the
I mean,
industry?
everybody knew it, but now the documents are out and prove exactly what everyone was saying all along.
All the fuck along. But I mean,
I guess we know who the real king of cannabis is.
Yes.
Dumping the bucket of cash on the fire.
Real talk,
right?
Real
also,
talk.
If they're going to continue to just pour money in, and like, I mean, this money is literally like incinerating into thin air.
Yeah.
Like, billionaires are going to run out. I don't know.
Were the oligarchs, were they artificially keeping the market afloat for all these years? Keeping the industry.
Are they using the cannabis industry to actually wash their money, like launder their money? I mean, it says that his yacht was seized. It says that, he's been, banned by the UN. So is he like secretly trying to get his money into the US and wash it somehow so that through the cannabis industry? I mean, if you got billions of dollars.
I think all of them were doing that for years. Yeah.
I really wish Gretchen was here right now, because I would love to just put on record that if we had access to banking, this would have been so easy to track a long, long time ago, right?
It would have been, yes,
just
if we had. Very, very true. What do you have to say about that, Rico?
I mean, there's some financial world. There's some interesting stuff going on in the comments right now, and I don't want to bring it up without Gretchen here to defend herself. Like on
That's
this
fair.
Shit. Being from the financial world, man, like is America. Russian oligarchs, they back probably 80% of your favorite American pastimes.
Oh yeah,
like that. That's just the way it is. And anybody who's been in the industry here in California, I mean, like this is federally illegal business, right? And it's still federally illegal. And there's plenty of people from different countries that are laundering money through this business. Any cash business, and before we just talk about cannabis, like any cash business that's done on a massive scale. I think laundromats, I think arcades, like a smaller level. Like think like a lot of things. You can launder money through a lot of those different vehicles, unfortunately. And I just think like this whole thing, like, what are we gonna do with this information now that we have it, Jason? Like, what are we gonna do? Like at this point, what do we do with this information? Like, yes, I mean, this motherfucker has been running pretty much like the biggest. Oh yeah, and guess where Curaleaf was founded?
In Oregon,
Portland.
Yep, that is true. That is a true statement. That is so true. Yes, I did
Rico
know that.
Bringing it full circle.
Yep, exactly. That's
what
how
do
the
you
first
think we should do
story.
with this information, Jason?
I mean, that's a very good question. But at the same time, I don't think it's up to us to decide what happens with the information. I wonder what organizations like the SEC and the DOJ are gonna say and are gonna do about this, and if there's gonna be any type of sanctions put on any of the licenses that Curaleaf actually holds.
I mean,
and
go ahead, Nicole.
Are we as consumers going to do something about it? Because
no, we're not.
It's not. It's not the SEC or in any of these organizations, these government-led organizations that are really going to do something. If we want to punish Curaleaf, then, or anybody wants to punish Curaleaf, then it has to be the people that are spending money on their products.
Very true.
It's that capitalist circle I was talking about with my story on Friday, man. Like, you want to stop doing it, but how many people are employed by Curaleaf? How many people are getting money off that Curaleaf supply chain that is going to be cut off if you cut them off as a consumer? So I mean, it's everything's connected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so how do you rectify the situation without government intervention? And if the government intervenes, you know that shit's going to be incompetent anyways. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't know what the fuck they're even goes on in this industry. So it's just going to be more fucking corruption.
Yeah.
So, well, damned if you do, damned
they're
if
going to
you
mess
don't.
it up.
I just think that this money has a lot of negative energy on it, because I mean, it wasn't around the time when what around the time was when Curaleaf purchased Select?
I want to say 2018.
Yeah, wasn't that around the same time that they had to remove their president for an alleged rape charge?
They should have, but they did not. I remember that whole fucking story.
Yes, so I wonder if any of this money went into cover up that story, or even went into a payoff or a buyout.
Right.
Spicy the whole thing. Spicy question. I like it.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
I can't wait for the Netflix docu-series to come out on this motherfucker.
Oh man,
who's gonna fucking play Abramoff?
I mean, I imagine it'll be a skinny white dude with gray hair. What do you think?
Oh my God.
Whoever he is, he's gonna be the next Teen People magazine heartthrob.
Kevin Spacey. It'll be Kevin Spacey. That'll be who.
Oh my God. Kevin Spacey making a comeback.
Oh my God, he would probably play a really good one.
He would crush people.
Yeah, he probably would. He crushed House of Cards.
Like, real talk. I mean, it's easy for us to talk about this stuff and talk about how fucked up it is, but at the end of the day, like, we don't have the proper checks and balances to rectify any of this situation.
We don't even have checks because we don't have safe banking.
If no checks, there's no balances. You know what I'm saying?
You know, you can't check your balance.
You can't check your balance. If you have unsecured bank, you always know what your balance is.
Oh man! This was a very interesting story, guys. Thank you guys all for entertaining this. I know a lot of people have been wanting to hear about this, and I read the full story. All those documents too. If people want to see, they can check out that link and they can find it in that story. But we're going to pay a quick bill so we can get right back to the rest of the news.
Tell us what y'all think.
At True Classic OG, we live by one motto: stay true. We stay true to our legacy cut of True OG that's always fresh, piney, gassy, and delicious. We represent the spirit and hustle and diversity of our great city of Angels, and we stay true to the spirit of this plant, doing everything in-house to ensure that you get the highest quality and consistency with every batch. And that's what made us LA's favorite OG. True Classic OG. Stay true, Los Angeles.
The thoughts, opinions, and shade thrown on the High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of any other speaker or its followers. The statements made do not constitute legal or accounting advice, and our speakers make no representation regarding the legal status of any substance in any country, area, or territory, or any other authorities. The views expressed in this room do not establish any fiduciary relationship. Our sponsors do not imply or constitute any endorsement by us or the expression of any opinion whatsoever on the part of any speaker on stage. If you are an easily offended person, the show is probably not for you, and maybe you should go and buy some Curaleaf stock. Flying into LAX and you want to taste some of the best weed in the world? Then stop by LAXCC, the closest dispensary to LAX, located at 8332 Lincoln Boulevard and open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. Always make LAXCC your first stop when you touch down in LA and score like a winner. And don't forget to tell them I sent you and mention you'd like to get high at 9 for 10% off your full order.
She says you got the next one, Jason.
Oh, it does, bro. I messed up on that. That is a mess up on my part.
I can do it.
Coming up next. Yes, go ahead and you get him and I'll get Mandy and then you will get Nicole Buffon.
Okay. Our next correspondent is a fellow dope dad who decided to trade in his issue gun and badge for a blunt and a nut and a notepad. On stage with us, reading the weed news, this former cops and security consultant at CC Security Solutions, dedicating each day to improving your chances of survivability. Rather than waiting on safe banking to pass, as some others believe it's a more effective solution, this motherfucker goes to the streets and kicks y'all some truth. Come to stage, it is Chris Eggers. What you got for us, baby, man?
Rico, thank you for the fire intro. Appreciate it. I'm moving a little slow this morning. Not saying anyone else is, but nursing a bit of an adult cold, if you will, or if you won't. My headline, it comes out of Alabama. Medical cannabis license applications window is closing soon. About a 1 week away from the deadline of businesses to apply for medical cannabis licenses in Alabama. Once the state awards those licenses, doctors can start getting certified to recommend it to qualified patients. Doctors will be able to start prescribing medical cannabis for some patients by next summer, and those patients will only be able to get it from those dispensaries that are going through the long process right now to be approved to sell cannabis. We're going to hear, and this is an article from the owner of Wagon Trail Hemp Farms, Joy Robertson, who said that he could be one of the suppliers of high-grade medical cannabis if the state accepts his almost 600-page application and gives him a license. He says, quote, "It's going to be a level of medicine that we have never had." Robertson says that the process is daunting. It is achievable. He is working to preset the 5 possible dispensary locations to set them apart from other applicants. Quote, "We'll have all those tied down, 1 per county, up to 5 counties. But we're also having to have our future plans drawn out and everything that we plan to build, when we plan to build it, and how we're going to be growing cannabis," Robertson said. The state medical cannabis law sets a 5 dispensary limit for the state, and that the state cannabis commission says that they've worked this year to fine tune all of the details of the rules. Robertson's company is in the hemp industry right now, but their infrastructure is set up and built for a much bigger operation already. Robertson added that in his 3-year business plan that we have provided to the AMCC, we're showing progressive plans that shows the increase of patient needs in the areas in which they are going to be needed. He said so far he has gotten a lot of support and a lot of more support than anticipated. The city of Coleman and Coleman County has always been very conservative community, but they've also understood that there's a need for medicine and that they're going to serve a lot of people in the community. Now, about 30% of the money that the state gets from these license operations are going to go to research and development through Alabama universities. June 12th is the day that they can expect approval for these licenses. So they could see doctors prescribing medical cannabis for select conditions soon after that. I hope a couple of our in-house doctors are in the room and can comment on this story. But for more information, the article says to refer to the AMCC site. Wanted to know what everyone thinks. Happy Monday, and hope everyone had a great weekend.
I mean, Alabama and licensing. I mean, does anything 2 words together sound more corrupt than Alabama and cannabis licensing?
Well, there's also a couple other words in here that is, and some folks in the comments already jumped on it. Really good call that the article messed up some terminology. One of our comments from Nick says that there's no prescription for cannabis. Do we have one of our doctors in the house that
we do not. But Nick is right.
Yeah, we had a great conversation.
Absolutely,
we had a great conversation on that last week. Like, yeah, there's no medical use.
You know who we do have though,
right?
Let's see. We do have Omar in here. Let's see if Omar can come up and shed some light a little bit on this, because I do know that Texas does call their stuff a prescription. All right. But we all know
by name
that,
only?
that it's not I think it's only by name only.
It's not legally.
And we are going to continue this discussion in regards to I am going to find someone in Texas, a Texas lawyer that can come up and really speak to this. Omar, can you talk about this? Alabama is saying that they're going to call their recommendations prescriptions also. What do you have to say about this?
I think that's a big mistake.
Oh man, you got bad connection, Omar.
Omar, you're being blocked
Omar,
out.
you're all R2D2, bro.
Damn.
Omar, you're all R2D2. Son of
you know what's great about the comments is that that folks are jumping on it pretty quick. I actually really appreciate that because it sparks some good conversation, but it shows that people are in tune and listening to what we're saying.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, the thing about it is that I do know that it's not a prescription because prescriptions are viewed in regards to across the globe as like you can take your prescription medicine with you into any country that you travel with when it's a prescription based medicine, and you cannot do that same thing with cannabis, whether it's called a prescription or not. Even though it's a recommendation, you cannot bring your cannabis across a state line, let alone an international line.
Right, a medical prescription by definition has to have medical value, right? But if the FDA does not see any medical value in cannabis, then it's technically not a prescription. So why are we calling them prescriptions, not recommendations?
Well, I think that's a legislator question as to why they are forcing this type of language, because I believe that's what Texas did, is they made it so that the doctors have to write a prescription, but they do not give their doctors any type of safety mechanism from being prosecuted against for writing it.
Right. I mean,
it just doesn't make sense. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
I would say it doesn't make any sense for us to have a prescription of any sort for something that can't kill you. Like, what? I don't understand. I mean, what are we scared of here? Right? Like,
we're scared. We're all scared.
Scared. Because America.
We're scared.
Fear equals
madness.
Opportunity to sell.
Oh, Anna, I love that comment. These states have they identified these recommendations as a prescription. These recommendations identify as a prescription. I love that comment right there.
Trans identification.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Don't crucify me, y'all. Don't crucify me. You can't crucify me because Jesus' birthday was yesterday.
I mean, but the winter solstice actually starts on the 21st.
Yeah, it does. You know,
I actually heard from someone that I forget which president it was that they told me, but they moved Christmas because Christmas used to be on the 21st and they moved it to the 25th so they could get more shopping days in the year.
Do you really want to go down that route, Jason? You want to talk about the Feast of Saturnalia? Do we
just
have?
That's what someone told me. I didn't Google it to check it out. I just thought it was interesting.
If Jesus was real, like, if you really want to go down this route.
No, we're not going down that route. That's a whole nother. That's a special segment. That's like a 2-hour show at least.
You can talk about all kinds of shit if you want to.
Man, you guys are way too funny. Way too funny. Oh man. Well, coming up next, she's a cannabis product extraordinaire and a serial cannapreneur. She is the owner of Camilla Cannagram, cannamommy.org, and the Women's Canna Award competition. Manndie is also an Emerald Cup judge for edibles, and she is searching the globe for the perfect cannabis and psychedelic edibles experience. They enter psychedelic edibles in the Emerald Cup. As a crusader for female entrepreneurs, Manndie loves showing the world how cannabis and motherhood and an executive lifestyle all go hand in hand. That's right. It is none other than the Manndie Tingler.
Good morning, everybody. You could bear with me here. I've had no food. My coffee has kicked in, and I'm taking cold medicine. My heart rate is like ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom right now this morning. So bear with me. I'm going to go with a really short story, but I think it'll have some interesting conversation to it. Just talking a little bit about the tax revenue and Vermont and what it's being allocated towards. In Brattleboro, Vermont, officials say that the state has collected $329,231 in excise tax, according to the revenue report released at the end of November. The state's retail cannabis marketplace opened October 1st, and the revenue report is a sign that the industry is already having an economic impact. I bought me a pre-roll and an eighth of some Afghani, said Josh Jones, one of the dozen of customers who stopped by the Vermont Bud Barn in Brattleboro Tuesday to purchase cannabis. The store has been averaging about 80 customers a day since it first opened back in October. It's not getting mixed or stepped on fentanyl these days. You don't know what they are doing with that stuff, Jones added. The average sale per customer at the store is between $80 and $90, and many customers are coming from out of state. We get a lot of New Hampshire people, and we actually get a lot of Massachusetts people because even though they can buy it down there, there's a perception that Vermont will have high quality, said the store's Scott Parks. In addition to the state's 6% sales tax, cannabis businesses also collect an additional 14% excise tax. That's an additional $329,231 in revenue that the state has collected through the end of November. Despite the slow start in October, with only a handful of shops, so Nellie Marvel, the Vermont Cannabis Control Board, says this is where they expected to be. Those numbers are actually right on track with our projected numbers from our financial model, she said. The state now has 24 stores, and Marvel says they're expecting tax dollars to steadily increase. The number of retailers that are open, the price of cannabis, and the price of cannabis, of course, is a function of the cultivators that are licensed of their harvest and state's tourism numbers. They say the full fiscal year beginning next summer could net the state upward of $16 million. But Governor Phil Scott is downplaying the potential economic impact. We shouldn't count on the revenue to any great extent, he said. However, retailers are already seeing a steady number of customers. Weekends, we can do up to about 150. I think our number one day we did 62, Spark said. He says they only expect sales to increase, but adds that competition will likely get stronger as more stores open their doors. So that's the end of that article, but I did do a little bit further reach as far as, looking into where the tax dollars are allocated. And there was another follow-up article that indicated a significant amount is to go to youth education programs for anti-drug education. And so I know that a lot of communities are allocating money in all sorts of areas from their tax revenue. I'm really interested to hear any kind of feedback either from the audience, Clubhouse, or any of you guys about what you're seeing with effective tax dollars being done as far as the cannabis industry is concerned, or ineffective use of tax dollars, I suppose. Go for it, guys.
I mean, have we seen any state use an effective use of tax dollars? Any state?
I don't know states, but municipalities and individual locations, yes. I've seen some really great tax. I mean, if you look down at Desert Hot Springs, that community's in a massive way overhauled. The city of Needles, these are towns that were once just desolate, nothing but crime, just really, really rough areas.
Yeah. So, but you're using all examples of cities that basically had no economy until cannabis came into them.
True.
So therefore they had nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, true.
Right?
But it also does show the possibilities
face
of
down.
what can happen.
Face down, butt up.
Oh God, here we go. No, I want to know, like, any municipality that already had a robust economy spending the money wisely on wise programs.
I'm not hearing a ton.
I'm not aware of any.
Also, when you think about Rico, I don't know if you know your mic is on right now. Also when you think about these youth education programs, I think it's really interesting. It doesn't say anywhere what kind of money is going into these programs, like what percentage. I couldn't find that information. But it's really interesting to me, like, if we're talking about revitalizing something like the DARE program or something of that nature, then I I'm worried, right?
I mean, that's what their focus is going to be on, is revitalizing something like that.
Well, what's interesting too, I think, is that when it comes to the monies released to these municipalities, you know, they go into the form of these RFPs that, you know, the cities decide how they want to spend the money. So that's already allocated, right, of what they intend or how they think they want to use the money. And that might not even be the best use of funds given, you know, the specific facts and circumstances in each municipality, which obviously vary across the states.
They already trying to flip the script on Dare. If you haven't seen them out at your local grocery store or whatever, ask them what they're talking about now.
Oh yeah. No, I saw a guy with a little card.
What are they talking about?
Yeah.
What are they talking about?
We want to actually educate people. I said, just like you educated us in the 80s, trying to tell us a bunch of crazy crap.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying that they've evolved?
Yeah, they've evolved. Yes.
How about the part of the story where I think it was either the governor or the mayor, I can't remember which one it was that said this, but he was like, don't count on these tax dollars yet. You know, like somebody's watching the history of all these other states that have unfolded, and it'll be really interesting. You know, I appreciate actually that response from him.
Well, here's an interesting fact, and maybe this is why Maine has such a robust market. Is Mark's Scandalone? Sorry if I messed your name up, but he says yes, but there's a dumb 60% limit on THC in concentrates here in Vermont, so legacy market rosin is not going anywhere. I think that's a very, very interesting fact when you're talking about Vermont in particular, because you have Vermont, you have New Hampshire that doesn't have a program, and then you have Maine, and everyone is raging about Maine, but yet this operator in Vermont that you referenced, Manndie, says that everyone thinks that Vermont has high quality THC.
I haven't tried Vermont THC, so I can't say.
I have, and a lot of it is all boof ass outdoor weed.
But Maine is good.
I mean, Maine has a lot of indoor grows. Now, you know, I'm sure Vermont has more indoor grows. I'm talking about when I was young is when I tried this stuff out, and you know, it's oh man, I feel so bad for my cousins that have to smoke that.
Oh, I get it, man. This is an excellent story.
And try it, get an updated opinion.
Yeah, or maybe we'll just drive to Maine and get some fire.
Hey.
Let's keep it rocking. All right,
let's roll.
Our next correspondent does it all. She's a patient plant medicine advocate and founder of Purple Plant Magic. When not handling biz, is Roz McCarthy's right hand on the left coast for M4MM. She's trying planes, trains, and automobiles to get across the country to get to her family, which I hope that she finally has as of yesterday. Nicole Buffon, what you got for us on this beautiful Monday morning? Happy Kwanzaa, first day of Kwanzaa. Umoja.
Umoja. Thank you so much, Rico, for that lovely introduction. I did make it to Georgia finally. My luggage did not, though. It's still in Vegas. But I'm enjoying a warm bed with my family. So anyway, happy Kwanzaa, Umoja. My story today comes out of Nigeria, out of Lagos. The NDLEA, which is their narcotics bureau, intercepts Colorado cannabis consignments in Lagos and arrest suspects. The story came out today, but all of the activities happened last week. So consignments of Colorado concealed in vehicles imported from Montreal, Canada, and packs of cannabis juice flown in from South Africa meant for distribution ahead of the Christmas festive season have been intercepted by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the NDLEA, at the Tinkan Seaport, Apapa, and the Murtala Muhammad International Airport. Both are in Lagos State. At least 12 suspects, including 2 dock workers and a wine shop businessman, have so far been arrested in connection with the 2 seizures, as well as the recovery of 152 kilograms of skunk. That's all it says, skunk, from 2 dealers in Kano, $100,000 pills of tramadol in Imo State, and 520 kilograms of cannabis hidden in soft drinks crates loaded in a truck coming to Abuja. the nation's federal capital territory. So if they're not referring to cannabis in this first 152 kilograms and they're referring to it as skunk, I don't even know what that is. Interesting.
Maybe they're referring to it as cannabis that was smuggled in like dead skunks.
Ew, gross. Okay. At the Saco import shed of the Lagos airport, the search of a consolidated cargo from South Africa led to the discovery of smuggled bottled cannabis juice with a gross weight of 16.5 kilograms on Wednesday. Investigations by anti-narcotics officers subsequently led to the arrest of 4 freight agents, whose statements eventually led to the arrest of the consignee, a wine shop business owner. Ooh, they ratted him out on the following day, last Thursday. Also, an attempt to export quantities of cannabis and ecstasy pills, also known as MDMA, concealed in beverage drink containers to Dubai through the NAHCO export shed on last Friday, was frustrated while a volcanizer given the assignment, volcanizer given the assignment for a fee of $4,000 has been arrested. In the same vein, a consignment of 185 parcels of cannabis indica, popularly called Colorado, weighing, so they call it Colorado. Okay, got it. Okay, weighing 61.3 kilograms have been seized during a joint examination of a container at the Tin Can Seaport in Lagos. The container, marked from Montreal, Canada, was declared as containing 3 units of used vehicles, but upon 100% examination, it was found to contain 2 vehicles, a 2009 Toyota Corolla car and a 2009 Ford Ecoline bus, as well as used car engines, bicycle shoes, and other items, including the drugs. 2 dock workers are already in NDLEA custody in connection with the seizure following their initial arrest by port security and the police. In Kano, 2 suspects were arrested along a road with 161 blocks of cannabis weighing 152 kilograms and various quantities of Exol and codeine-based syrup. While a total of 100,000 pills of tramadol were recovered from a suspect in Imo State on his way to another state, similarly, a total of 708 kilograms of cannabis were recovered by operatives from a bus area of Ondo State on Tuesday. In his reaction to the arrest and seizures, chairman of the NDLEA commended the officers and men for their vigilance, professionalism, and robust working relationship with other security agencies in their areas of responsibility, urging them and their compatriots across the country to ensure no gram of illicit substances escapes their checks into the streets during the festive season and beyond. He wished them and their families a Merry Christmas celebration and prosperous New Year in advance. This story, I'm working in Africa with different states. And right now, it's hard to have a conversation around cannabis being used as medicine in South Africa, in Zambia. Right now, they're barely allowing the research to be done, but it is happening. It's slow. It's a slow process. But what is a positive thing that is happening in Africa is the monarch families, which own most of the land in Africa. They have a say in this research and this opportunity. And so, along with the elected officials and government in most of these countries, they also have the monarch families, which have a say in how they utilize the land. And those monarch families are tired of allowing the government to criminalize and demonize this plant, and they're ready to open up their borders to allow for research and development and commerce and this industry to develop and flourish. So I'm working with my ACAM family to make that happen across the seas and on the continent. But this story just blows my mind, the way that they describe it and the amount that they found. I thought that it was found from Colorado, but now I understand that they call it Colorado. Which is interesting. But this is Nicole Buffon reporting for High at 9 News. Love to hear what you think about this story.
So basically, Nicole, you're saying we have a long way to go for like education and for acceptance still.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Yes, there's a long way to go, but our Chem Alliance family is working on that diligently. We've had meetings every week. We're excited to soon we'll be able to announce that we're going to be partnering with a university in South Africa and probably a couple of other countries to help with that, begin that research and development program.
I love this story, Nicole. Thank you so much for bringing this. I mean, this just shows how much dysfunctionality in regards to cannabis knowledge across the globe that we all need to work on a regular basis. And so as bad as all of the shit that happens in America is, this shit just makes you see like, hey, you know what? We need to fix this here so we can make it a model across the world.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, this is thank you for drawing our attention to this, Nicole. We need more and more eyes and ears on what's going on globally, and I love the fact that Chem is continuing to do its thing like across borders, because you know, like if we're not doing it and people that look like us aren't doing it, we're gonna leave it up to the colonizers to do the shit again. So big ups to Chem, big up to everybody involved.
Real quick, I just wanted to add to that. I know we're at time, but one of our conversations that we had with a South African advocate recently is a white man. He's from South Africa, and so is his family. But he's known as the hemp guy in South Africa because he walks around with a hemp suitcase, showing the people how hemp it can be utilized in many different ways. And it's just interesting because the experts who are considered the experts in Africa are not people that look like the majority of people in Africa. He's had to import seeds of hemp from Germany and from Europe, and are not allowed to use the seeds that he found that are indigenous to the land. So yes, it just goes to show that there's a long way to go, a lot of education that is needed, and we're doing our part to make sure that happens.
Education knows no color, period.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, we do have Nick Bradley up from Clubhouse to speak on something. I do believe it's a little off topic, but what do you have to say, Nick?
Let's keep it a real short.
It's kind of going back to the Curaleaf conversation. So California recently changed one of their ownership requirements. So you used to have to disclose ownership at 20%, and they moved that to 5% ownership disclosure. And I think that a lot of other states are going to start to take this same road, so that we don't have these foreign investors hiding money in cannabis businesses, like we've seen in a lot of these MSOs. So,
okay, thank you for that. Let's keep it on topic.
Nick.
All right, so thank you all for tuning in with us for another episode of High at 9 News. We will be at full energy tomorrow, and not with the adult sickness that we all had. And you know, I probably won't have this co-host with me on my lap either. But big shout out to our live audience members and online supporters tuning in and giving us feedback on the daily headlines of chaos, also known as developing cannabis industry. No more of those. Our vetted industry correspondent team tuning in from all over the global community, bringing us much needed variety of perspective and adding your respected opinions to the conversation. To our production team, the wonderful Jaja Simone holding things down every damn day in Clubhouse, and Adam in the background keeping our AV struggles in check. We couldn't pull it all together without you. And to the haters out there, we love you guys so much. And you know what? I hope you guys had a very happy holiday as well. I'm spreading nothing but holiday cheer. Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Feast of Saturnalia to all you guys who believe in the truth as well. It is Monday, December 26, 2022. The show's over. You've all been blessed with the top headlines. Hope you go out there, hope it's enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke it until tomorrow. I love you guys. Jason, any final comments?
Just hope everyone had an amazing holiday with their families, got everything that they ever asked for in the world. And happy Kwanzaa! It's Umoja Day.
Get your dashiki on, Jason. I'm going to bring you on.
Bring it.
Happy Kwanzaa, y'all. Bye.
Run that.